Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Sunday, January 14th, 2024, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Now Mind You podcast. Yo! Trying something different. Kind of fell flat during the manga episode. But this is episode 97 Combat, and we are your hosts. I'm TJ.
Matt.
And Bryce. Had to go. Shit happens, man. Scheduling conflicts is what it is, but he'll be back next week, y'all. I know he'll be back because we got a UFC pay-per-view starting off the new year that's going to be kind of insane on paper. But as far as the docket is concerned for today, first and foremost, Matt's going to take us through the boxing bout that took place as of this recording Saturday night, which was Beterbiev versus Smith, right? And then we're going to
Uh-huh.
take a look at UFC Vegas 84, aka UFC Fight Night, Ankalaev versus Walker 2. This time it's personal. Low key though. But without wasting further time, Matt, the floor is yours.
All right, so we had Artur Beterbiev versus Callum Smith um, last night, and this fight was one-way traffic. Not gonna hold you. I'm gonna keep
I
this
saw
short
some
and
of the
sweet.
highlights. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
great. It
I'm
wasn't
gonna
great for
keep
Smith.
this. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet the same way that he did.
Damn.
Um, no man, this was actually kind of crazy. Um, This was for Artur Beterbiev's IBF, WBC, and WBO lightweight titles. And the only belt left out of those belts is at this point now the WBA title, which is currently held by Bivol. As far as this fight is concerned, just before I get ahead of myself, Artur Beterbiev was able to cut the distance immediately.
Mm-hmm.
There was very little resistance that was given um when as he tried to press forward. Now, the reason that is significant is Artur Beterbiev just stands at 6 feet tall, even 6 feet, 73-inch reach. Callum Smith, on the other hand, is 6'3" and he has a 78-inch reach.
What? That's
What?
not a great picture then.
Yeah. He was in the very first round, the distance was being cut and he was landing 4 and 6 punch combinations. Even though Callum would block some of them, I'm not going to sit here and say he was teeing off on Callum, but he was forcing Callum to fight at a distance that he was not comfortable fighting at
Mm.
immediately. Um, and I thought that's definitely something significant to note. Um, Ultimately, he was the first person to drop Callum Smith in his career, putting Callum Smith down in the sixth round with a right hand, and ultimately stopping Callum Smith in the seventh round. The round immediately following that, being the first person to stop Callum Smith and maintaining his undefeated record, and as well as maintaining his uh stoppage record as well. So Artur Beterbiev defeats Callum Smith, moves on to 20-0, all stoppages.
Mm.
He has not had a single fight in his 20 fight career that he has seen the final bell for. He has, I think the latest stoppage he has had was in the 10th round. Even, yeah, he's had 4 round fights. He doesn't go to distance. 6 round fights doesn't go to distance. 10 rounds doesn't go to distance. 12 rounds doesn't go to distance. The longest fight he has had was a 10 round fight. And that's pretty much that.
It's crazy.
On the boxing side, would you like to slide over to the UFC, TJ?
Let's do it. UFC Vegas 84, Ankalaev versus Walker 2. Fight card, main card we had for the
There's
opener.
also an uncle I have. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Opener was Arlovsky versus Waldo Cortez Acosta, aka Salsa Boy. This was at heavyweight. Then we had Hawes versus Fajeda at middleweight. We had Simone versus Bautista at bantam. Then we had Miller versus Benitez at lightweight. Then we had, of course, the main event, light heavy, Ankalaev versus Walker. I'll kick us off. Andre Arlovski versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. This was heavyweight. So Andre Arlovski was he the first heavyweight champ? No, but he was
No.
definitely no, he was one of the younger heavyweight champs at the time when he got it,
Hmm.
but he's a former heavyweight champion. So needless to say, Waldo Cortez Acosta getting a win over Andre Arlovski would look good on the resume. And of course, Cortez Acosta, I feel like we've covered most, if not all, of his fights in his UFC career. Um, but he's
Yeah,
from the
he's
Dominican.
been giving some good spots.
Yeah, he's from the Dominican Republic. Shout out Andre Fialho. No reason. Just
Mhm.
hey, we miss you, dog. But it's like speaking of someone who was giving some good spots, Fialho was getting on cards. It didn't even make sense anyway. But I digress a lot. Um, Cortez Acosta, Dominican Republic, he could have gone pro in baseball. And you can see why based on how he throws his overhand rights, dog. This nigga's got nukes in his fist. And Arlovsky was like, that's crazy, but I'm from Russia. So that won't do shit. How, but here's what I really think. It was like competitive. It's like it's one of those style matchups where one fighter adopts a strategy for the other fighter, and it's like you get it because it's the only way for the fighter to win. But to the casual fan, this is gonna look like a boring fight.
Mhm.
Um, Cortez Acosta was doing his best to make it entertaining with the dancing and the in your face, and apparently there may have been some like pre-existing beef leading up to this matchup. But to be fair, Arlovsky was actually doing a really good job of shutting down all his power moves, and it doesn't really look like Acosta has learned to check kicks still. He's like still eating a lot of fucking leg kicks.
Mhm.
Um, but in terms of who was, doling out the action and the fists and whatnot, it was Cortez Acosta, man. Salsa Boy was still advancing the pace. I mean, Arlovsky was playing a sound strategy based on, all the data that's on Salsa Boy, but it wasn't like there wasn't anything super noteworthy in terms of his offense to Salsa Boy, if that makes sense. But, ultimately Salsa Boy gets that unanimous decision win. Um, that's just what it is, man. It's just what it is. It wasn't like I don't want to say it was a snoozer, but it wasn't a banger for a main card opener. I don't know, Matt. What'd you think?
I agree completely. I was expecting some fireworks. I definitely was expecting a stoppage. Um, you typically don't see a lot of heavyweight fights go the distance. Um, but I think that Arlovsky fought a smart fight. It just ultimately came down to who was more effective. I thought he had a good game plan. His game
Mm-hmm.
plan just wasn't more effective.
Mm-hmm. His chin is still there.
Yeah, somehow. Somehow. Speaking of chins being there, though,
Oh man, that
um, yeah,
oof.
let's get to this freaky
It's
fast finish.
that was disrespectful as hell.
You're right. I am so sorry.
No,
It
not
really
you,
was.
Jimmy Johns. Yeah, like, well, go into it. Then they'll understand why I said
uh,
that was
so we had a
disrespectful.
middleweight bout between Phil Hawes and Bruno Ferreira. Wow, this fight almost made it out of the first round. Almost 5 seconds left. It was pretty competitive on the feet. In the beginning, it seemed like both guys were kind of trying to find their range. Ultimately, after a failed shot, getting back up, excuse me, Bruno Ferreira was able to land a knee right up the middle, underneath Phil Hawes' chin. And for essentially the last minute or so of the round, he was struggling to kind of keep his feet under him and also trying to minimize the damage that was coming in from Bruno, who was not necessarily swarming him, but was definitely making him earn that paycheck. And ultimately, it was a right hand that he clipped him with. He didn't even hit him with it clean, where he goes down, and oof, boy, does he go down. He gives him another shot on the way down, knocks him out, gives him at least two more hammer fists before the ref's able to get in there and stop him. First round, 4 minutes in, 4 minutes and 55 seconds into that first round. Phil Hawes gets stopped by Bruno Ferreira. Um, yeah, it was brutal. It was definitely a brutal stop. Um, Also, the last thing I'll say on this, for the small amount of time that we did get this fight, we literally did see all the elements of MMA. So
Mhm.
there's that. But I'll pass it to TJ.
Bro, was that fucking knee that was the beginning of the end. He never got his legs back after he got that knee to the
Hmm.
face. Fajeda like timed that knee pretty perfectly. And then yeah, I think it was actually a left hand, like a jab that caught the temple.
Yeah. Yeah, because
And
it
then
definitely didn't land
because
flat.
like yeah, it was like it caught the temple, and then Hawes just dropped, and I was like, oh no, dude. Like Fajeda was like, this is for Brazil. And Charles Oliveira wants his hair dyed back. I was like, hey,
Mhm.
relax. No, all jokes aside, if we're being serious, like for one, it was kind of tough seeing Hall's reaction to finding out he got knocked out. Because like the writing is essentially kind of on
I
the
mean,
wall.
the seeing anybody have to realize that they had been separated from themselves, like, no, what
It's not a
happened?
good
Like,
feeling.
nah, bro,
Yeah.
you got put to sleep. Like, oh,
But what does this mean, like from a data standpoint? Third loss in a row, but most importantly, third finish by knockout in a row. So yeah, that could be a wrap on Phil Hall's career. Now we've seen that not always be the case, but there are
it all looked
overall
good.
very few exceptions to that rule, I will say. Uh, but yeah, first finisher on the card, on the main card, that is. Uh, let's go into Simone versus Bautista. I'm gonna say this bantamweight fight actually was my fight of the night.
Same.
Um, that was crazy, bro. First of all, I gotta say something. Ricky Simone, like, I think I think if it doesn't matter the fighter, but like the wider their fucking back is, and if their legs kind of match with that wideness, they're usually gonna be very fucking strong. Um, and Ricky Simone was that. But the name of the game, boxing. And for as powerful as Simone was, especially with like the takedown defense, first of all, Bautista's takedown defense was impeccable. Um, but Simone was really like, sandwiching this dude up against the fence for the most part. And the strength differential was crazy, but you know, it's like it's like wide MMA style punches versus boxing that's been adapted for MMA. It's honestly like if you ever watch anyone who trains out of Los Lobos, right? Alexa Grasso, Irene Aldana, even Diego Lopez. Like, look at how I always call it like geometric precision. Like, look at how clean their lines are. And you can see a little bit of that from Bautista too. I'm not saying he trains out of Los Lobos. I don't think that's the case at all. But like, bro, it's like he was whittling away at Simone's chin. I feel like if this were a 5 rounder, he probably would get a fucking finish. Just Simone is so fucking tough, but that was some crazy boxing. Like round 3, he basically just it's like he couldn't miss Simone's chin at all. Like that's what I'm gonna say there. It's like the decision, the right person won. Like Bautista put in work. Like these niggas hit each other so much in the face. They both had blood mustaches, bro.
Yep.
Like anyway, uh, just excellent MMA boxing and just way to stick to the plan and have really good wrestling defense. I'm gonna pass it over to you, Matt. What would you think?
I was saying this before we got on the broadcast. I I just want to know where Mario Batista got his rotator cuffs from. Like, how do you just lit that? How do you punch that much? How do you strike that much? How do you do and then be like, cool, and I'm also do these underhooks? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
no, he had to get really active. This was another like a good just MMA match, you know?
yeah,
I felt like all the elements again were covered here as far as, the striking, the wrestling. I just think overall Mario Batista was the better man. Got more strikes off. He never really seemed. I'll put it like this: he kept Ricky Simone reacting, and he never got a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
he was always in control. Ricky Simone was always reacting to what Mario Batista was doing. Mario Batista pretty much was in control from round one. Just as far as dictating the pace of this fight,
yeah.
and things like that. So that's where I stand on this one.
And now
Then
he's about to be in the top 15.
yeah, yeah. Oh, now we can. Now it's interesting because we're kind of getting to that point now where all of the divisions are starting to shift a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Starting to see more new blood get injected into these rankings. So it'll be interesting to see, what'll happen as he continues to try to navigate his way through the division. Because, it's not these aren't they're not necessarily shark infested waters, but they're not safe either.
No,
Not safe.
it's not sharks, it's orcas.
Right. Damn.
That's actually like way
It's like
worse.
worse.
Oh, shit, take us into Miller versus Benitez.
Man, so
Don't make no sense.
yeah, again, another one don't make no sense. Get Jim Miller versus Gabriel Benitez. Jim Miller, living legend, been around forever.
17 years, I
So
think.
yeah, every single time he fights, he continues to increase his record for most UFC appearances, cage time, things of that nature. And he definitely was tacking on more cage time this time around. Um, I'm going the way I viewed this fight was the crafty veteran found a way, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and that's not to say that Jim Miller was getting the brakes beat off him or nothing like that, but he was outgunned for sure. And in certain aspects of this fight. And I think it is because Jim Miller has been around for so long, and I'm not saying this in any way to discredit him. I'm saying this to give him credit. Because he's been around for so long, he pretty much knows how to one, survive, two, mitigate damage, and three, his game is so well rounded that if he's losing in one aspect, he can win in another one. And the
Yeah.
minute he figured out what aspect he was better at, he took advantage of it, and he in the third round was able to pull it off. So let me specify exactly what I mean. Early on, I felt like the speed was there for Jim Miller, but the accuracy was there for Gabriel. And
Hmm.
even though Jim was able to get in and out, he was paying for it. And he eventually the striking was starting to wear him down a little bit. But when we got to the second round, that was when Jim Miller figured out he could keep Gabriel down and
Hmm.
keep him on the ground for a decent amount of time. And I felt like they did a significant amount of wrestling considering they this is again you know what, I'll just say this, there was a lot of MMA on this MMA card. Would you believe that? Outside of the main event, because these guys got a chance to do a lot of wrestling. There wasn't a lot of fence wrestling either. This was a lot of like in the mat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of groundwork. Um, and not even a ton of groundwork off the cage. It
No.
was just a lot of groundwork. Ultimately, Jim Miller was able to pull off a rear naked choke in that third round. About a little more than 3 minutes into that third round. And he was able to get Gabriel Benitez to tap. And shit, Jim Miller adds another win to his record of 30. He's now 37-17, having been here 17 years. Um,
Crazy.
it's really impressive. So, he after I know that he's trying to get on UFC 300. So shit, I damn near say give it to him,
He name dropped Paul Felder too.
Yeah, yeah. Be careful what you wish for though. But I feel him. Did you have any thoughts, TJ, on this fight?
uh, namely that you can see that Jim Miller invested in the leg kicks early on in the first round.
Hmm.
And that actually ended up paying mad dividends for round three because you could see that he was visibly kind of gassed out. Because as you said, he was getting in and out on Benitez, but not without, paying a few prices himself. So like when he was gassed out, he was also starting to notice that when he was throwing hands, Benitez wasn't really moving. He was throwing back, but he wasn't really moving, which set up the opportunity for Jim Miller to just straight up take him down, hold him down, get to the back, body lock it, hit the rear naked face crank. I mean, okay, rear naked choke, but he couldn't get under his chin, and he was like, "You think I need to get under your chin?" Like, and then just fucking got the tap. So, shout out Jim Miller, impressive as hell. I mean, every appearance he lives up more and more to the living legend aspect. Like, I don't even know what to say other than that. You hit every other point, Matt. Should we go into the main event?
Yes, we should.
Ankalaev versus Walker 2 this time. It's not in Dubai. Um, this is what I was gonna say. Light heavy, bro. It's like, I mean, you're dealing with somebody whose name ends in an Ev or an of, or they got a full beard, no mustache, but a bowl cut up top. They're from a country that ends in Stan or part of a country that may have been associated with the former Soviet Union. It's like the data's there, man. You might just want to leave it alone. Um, Look, round one, the Johnny Walker show. And Johnny Walker was slick with it. I feel like he may have pushed the pace a little too hard for a 5 round bout. Little did he know that it wouldn't go the distance, but like, yeah, he was going pretty hard. Like I saw him try to take out Ankalaev with an axe kick. I was like, hey, you trying to kill? Like,
Several.
it's like you fighting or you trying to commit a murder? But I was like, this thing is doing axe kick right now. But I digress just to say like there was something I thought Johnny Walker was also finding quite a bit of success in. Like you saw those like little slick leg kicks, but really he was trying to sweep Ankalaev off his feet. There was one time too where it seemed like he was setting up with the right hook and the lead leg with the sweep. Like he was really not only trying to destabilize Ankalaev, but also like take him down off of his feet, which was pretty slick in how successful he kind of was at it. But even then, toward the end of the first round, Ankalaev was like, all right, I think I got his fight pattern down. And then round two, Ankalaev was like, yeah, I 100% have this fight pattern down. Let's just end this. And bro, he hit him with the spink and the spoinkle. Like, I don't, I mean, you saw it, the same thing, bro. Like,
Sat him down like a
he
Gerber
sat
baby.
him down and then he broke his nose. Like, who was he making the point to? Like, I don't know. Like, like the second punch was unnecessary. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, dog. Uh, but maybe he was just like, no, last time there was too much debate. There was a whole illegal shit with the knee and this, that, and third. And he's like, I'm tired of this shit. Let me just end it. I was like, you mean the fight? Long pause, and he's like, yes, the fight. But I'm gonna pass it over to you, Matt.
Look, man, this he got low blow early. He backed up, looked all in the camera, see, told you, all that, and it was like, all right, look, just as long as we get a chance to still get this fight off. Um, The fight happens, and to get first of all, like you said, he was throwing a lot of really wild stuff. Even on the commentary, they were saying like, "Do he know this a 5 round fight?" He was throwing like fake switch kicks into axe kicks and stuff, and he was
Yeah,
landing them. He just wasn't really landing them with power. But as you said, once Ankalaev like kind of found his distancing and found that spacing, that was it. Um, and when he finally lands that shot, and I mean, it was the immediate follow up. Like he had hit, got dropped, and as soon as he could react to his ass hitting the ground, his head was bouncing off the cage. And it was just like, oh my God. Yeah. Ankalaev, he came in there, he made a statement. Definitely made a statement coming
and
in. So
and here's what's crazy too. I'm sorry, it's like Ankalaev is 6'3" and Johnny Walker is 6'6".
hmm
I'm not saying it's really like a David Goliath situation, but in that octagon, the height difference looked way more than just 3 inches. Like high key, it could be because of their respective fight postures, but Johnny Walker looked gigantic, and he just cut him down to size. Pardon me for saying it, but that's what it looked like.
yeah. This yeah, he chopped him down for sure. That's one thing I can say unequivocally. He definitely did do that.
Hmm.
So that was overall, that was Ankalaev versus Walker 2. That was our card. That was our main card. What was your fight of the night, TJ?
Simone Bautista. I forgot to even mention
Same.
that like big ass double leg that Simone got, where he carried Bautista across the
Yeah.
cage. It was like, hey, dude. And I was like, oh shit, all right. But yeah, Simone Bautista for sure.
Sure. I got the same one. Coming up, well, we have next week we have UFC 297, Sean Strickland versus Dricus Duplessis. We also have Bueno
Don't.
Silva versus
I was gonna be like, don't skim over that main event, dog. Somebody might die. Like,
Yeah, somebody might. It's a straight blood feud. We also got Raquel Pennington on this card with Myra Bueno Silva. We also
for
got Chris Curtis.
that vacant women's bantam title.
Oh, it is for the vacant women's bantamweight title. You're right. Yeah, for the vacant women's bantamweight title. We also got Arnold Allen versus Movzar
Oh,
Evlev
Evloyev. Oh
Evloev.
shit.
That's gonna be crazy.
Oh shit.
We also got Chris Curtis on this card. We got a little Neil Magny action as well. So that's gonna be decent. We also have as far as boxing is concerned, January 20th, we have Natasha Jonas versus Michaela Mayer. Um, that's going down in Liverpool. That's going to be on ESPN Plus, and that's going to be for the IBF Women's Welterweight title. So we will be covering that as well. Uh, with that, thank you guys so much for rocking with us for another episode of the Now Mind You podcast. This has been another one of the combat episodes. We look forward to hearing from you guys. You can follow us all on social media. You can follow me at Matt Hambrick. That's MatThambrickTJ.
Well, you can find me up on the Instagram at us4skate. That's TUSS number 4__SKATE. And y'all can find Bryce on the Instagram as well. And I say, oh, sir. Sorry.
No, no, finish it. Finish it.
XE underscore ONCA,
hmm
baby.
And you can follow us at Now Mind You Podcast, wherever you like to get your social media and wherever you like to get your podcast, because we are in all of those places. Thank you guys so much, seriously, though, for supporting us. And we will see you guys next week. And Bryce will be with us too.
100%. Thank y'all. Peace.
Peace out.